Welcome to this week's Quick Charge. The Bible tells us that in the beginning, when God created the universe, there was a raging ocean that covered everything. In the beginning, there was what could be called a perfect storm. A perfect storm is an event in which a rare combination of circumstances drastically aggravates that event. It's the combination that makes it a perfect storm. Last week we discovered that if allowed, that perfect storm can actually get inside us. So instead of just being in the middle of the storm is in the middle of me. Instead of ruling over the storm is ruling over me. But it doesn't have to be that way, because we can run to God's grace. The perfect storm is always my opportunity to find His grace and appropriate His grace. In Jeremiah 31:2, the Bible says, "The people who survived the sword found grace in the wilderness." Or, "Some of my people will live through everything their enemies do to them, and they will find help in the desert." Those who stay above the storm do so because they are purposely finding grace in the midst of it. How can you tell when you've truly taken hold of God's grace? Well, it may sound something like this. In this chaos, in this raging storm, my God is still in charge, and therefore I don't have to fight this storm. I'm in His hands. I'm in the cleft of His rock. I'm covered. I'm protected. My life, my destiny, my future, my heart, even the hurt and the trouble and the sorrow is safely and securely in His hands. He's got this, and He's got me. May also sound like this. Out of this chaos, out of this storm, my God is bringing forth His purposes for me and in me. So this perfect storm is not my enemy. This perfect storm is perfecting me, and it is working on me and in me and for me. The Apostle Paul said these circumstances actually work for us, not against us. And finally, it may sound like this. Above this chaos, I put on and I model and I move with grace, choosing to be gracious because He gives more grace. I can respond in grace and walk and go in grace. I can express His grace, walk in mercy, in love, in forgiveness, in joy, in patience, in kindness, because I'm walking in the knowledge of His grace, being supported and strengthened by His grace. So if the storm gets in me, I then lose the ability and the opportunity to access His grace. I'm going to choose grace, no matter what I may be seeing or feeling, no matter how conflicted or convoluted or confusing my situation might be at the moment. The hymn writer said, "Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home." King David said, "The floods have lifted up their voice." Our perfect storm can often be a war with words and a war over words, because the greatest weapon formed against us is always in the form of words. Isaiah 54:17 says, "No weapon turned against you will succeed, and you will silence every voice raised up to accuse you." No matter what the perfect storm may be saying to me, God's got me. He's working in me, and there's always more than enough grace to see me through it. Join me next week for another quick charge. God bless.